Good evening all. So, back into a bit more of a sales orientated lesson tonight. So, I think it's very important when you're especially in a B2B context that you have the right levels of rapport. Now, I ask this question when I do job interviews for people all the time. I say, what does rapport mean to you and how do you go about developing it? And I'm always wary when I hear things like, well, you've got to be friendly, you've got to get into a bit of a nice kind of vibe with them, have a bit of a laugh, maybe talk about last night's football game or, the snow. And I roll my eyes, I think, oh, God help us. Because obviously, if you're picking up the phone to a CEO or a managing director or a chairman, it's highly likely they don't really want to spend the next 5 minutes talking to a stranger about a football team when they don't even like football. But you wouldn't know that because, you sort of, that's your impression of rapport. And if you're in sales for the long game and you want to be very successful, you need to, you'll understand that building rapport is essential. You need massive amounts of it and you need it as quickly as possible. Now, B2B context, right? So, to create massive rapport with a CEO or such like, you need respect and trust. Yeah? Those are the three things. It's another sort of question that we like to ask. Out of trust, like, and respect, which order would you like people to view you? Trust and respect and trust. Most importantly, though, the liking part is only a third of that picture. So, 5 stages of creating a really good introduction to your calls. And you can do this with receptionists, executive assistants, personal assistants, managing directors, CEOs, commercial directors, finance directors, whatever you like. But what you're trying to do here is you are framing the call and the conversation. You're using justifiers, and throughout the rest of the videos that I do, a lot of these words like justifiers and whatnot will become a lot more apparent because I'll do whole videos on those subjects. But as a quick how-to in terms of getting a much higher success rate in A, getting through to the people you want to talk to, and B, actually having the conversation you want to have once you get through, there's a 5-stage process of effective introductions, okay? First one is tell them who you are, right? Sounds stupid, but when you have a scripted introduction, it matters, right? So, hello Mr. Client, my name is John Biscombe, right? Stage 2, the company that you represent. My company is ABC Company. Ask a question on whether or not they're familiar with your organisation. And the reason why you have to be very careful on the way you choose your words here, guys, because if you say, are you aware of ABC Company? It sounds a little bit like an STD, doesn't it? Were you aware of chlamydia? You know what I mean? If you ask a question, are you aware of our organisation? And you say it with an element of, I'm kind of expecting you to say yeah. You've done a couple of things. You've suggested that he should know who you are, and also you've suggested to her that you're an organisation. So without having to explain it, she now knows that you're calling from an organisation and it's called ABC Company, and whether they go, oh yeah, I'm familiar with you, or no, I've not actually heard of you before. Either way, you're going to say the next thing, which will either be, oh, well, that's great, so you know that we are, or that's not a problem. Just briefly to explain, we are. And then you have what I call a mini script, yeah, which is a sentence that explains who you are, and you use that sentence every single time, and you rehearse it, and you say it in your sleep, yeah. So we're a consultancy that does X for businesses in this country, and we do it by doing that. Something like that, to be generic. Then you have to state the reason for your call. Okay, the reason for the call is you've been identified as relevant to XYZ opportunity, and I'm ringing up to discuss that with you. Then you need to explain the objective, what you would like to get out of the call. And you would say that as, what I'd like to do now, if it's all right with you, is whatever it is you want to do. It could be spend the next 20 minutes or so going through sort of a series of questions to identify your relevance for this opportunity that I've made up. And then you want to say what's going to happen next. And if at the end of that process we agree together that you would like to find out more and have a follow-up and go into more detail, then I would like to XYZ. Set an appointment or come and see you or whatever that may be. And then the last thing you do is you ask permission. Can we do that now? If you say that with an element of reasonability, yeah, can we do that now? Is that all right? 20 minutes? They'll go, yeah, all right. Whereas if you don't ask for permission, you're assuming that they've got 20 minutes. And actually, if you just carry on going, then they'll go, no, I haven't got 20 minutes. And if they haven't got 20 minutes now, that's absolutely fine. I've called you out of the blue. I assumed you wouldn't have. Why don't we do 4 o'clock this afternoon? Oh, this day's really busy. Okay, that's fine. Or we could do 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, it's the reasonable tone. It's not pushy or, oh no, they've said no to my first request. That must mean they hate me. So that's absolutely fine. How about 10 o'clock in the morning then tomorrow? That'd be all right? When you employ the 5-stage introduction process, who you are, the company you represent, the reason for the call, the objective of the call and what will happen as you go through that call, and then the request to actually have that conversation. 5 steps. You can do that, like I said, with a receptionist, a PA, a CEO, an FD, whoever you like. What you're going to do is you're going to create huge amounts of rapport because you've been completely open, completely honest, very transparent, professional in terms of they know who you are, where you're calling from, what your company does, the reason why they want to talk to you about it, what you'd like to do and what you'd like to happen, and whether that would be okay to do it now or at another point in the future, right? Get that introduction process into your heads and repeat it day after day after day, and you will get a 20 to 50% bump in your success rate. It's not a magic bullet, there's no such thing. But what it will do is it'll improve your chances immensely. I promise you. Take that away.